Has it ever happened to you that an unexpected situation makes you lose your calm? A bad comment, a look of disdain, or a simple inconvenience? And suddenly, your tranquility vanishes. Anger consumes you. You feel yourself losing control, caught in a whirlwind of emotions that drag you into negative thoughts. And what happens next? You are left with that discomfort. Your day is ruined. You keep replaying what happened over and over, imagining how you could have reacted differently. But nothing changes, because what trapped you wasn't the event itself, but your reaction to it. Now ask yourself something. How many times have you allowed external situations to control your emotions? How many times have you lost your peace over things that are beyond your control? Most of us live under this dynamic. We react impulsively. We let anger, frustration, and irritation take over. But what if I told you that there is a way to live in peace without anyone or anything disturbing your inner tranquility? This way exists. The Stoics discovered it over 2,000 years ago. Great figures like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus faced challenges that would test anyone. Yet, despite living in difficult times, they managed to maintain their inner peace. How did they do it? By applying Stoic principles. Today, I want to share with you 7 practical steps that will change your life if you apply them. These principles are not just philosophical ideas. They are powerful and practical tools you can use in your daily life to control your emotions and regain your inner peace. Remember this, true freedom is not about controlling what happens outside, but about controlling how you react. If you apply just one of these steps, I assure you that you will see an immediate change in how you experience every situation. If this is your first time on the channel, I invite you to subscribe and give this video a like. This will help me continue creating inspiring content like this in the future. Now, let's begin. Step 1. Accept the flow of life. One of the biggest causes of our frustration is our constant rejection of what happens in life. We resist change. We cling to how we believe things should be, and this leads to an endless cycle of stress and emotional exhaustion. The key to freeing yourself from this burden is accepting the natural flow of life. But be careful, acceptance does not mean surrendering or settling. Acceptance is a conscious act of understanding that we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we choose to face it. When you resist reality, every obstacle feels like a battle. Think about it. If you are stuck in traffic and start cursing, what do you achieve? Nothing. The traffic is still there, but you are emotionally drained. On the other hand, when you accept the situation, even if it's unpleasant, your mind is freed from that internal struggle. Stoicism teaches us that what truly gives us peace is the willingness to face each moment with serenity and gratitude. Even when things don't go as expected, that acceptance is a way to regain control of your peace. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics, wrote in his Meditations, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom it brings you together." This advice seems simple, but it is profound. If you accept that some things are beyond your control, you stop wasting energy on unnecessary struggles. This acceptance is not resignation, it is wisdom. It is choosing peace over frustration. And remember, life is not what happens to you, but how you choose to react to it. The next time something bothers you, ask yourself, can I change this situation? If the answer is no, then accept it and move on. When you accept the inevitable, your mind is freed from the burden of resistance. Instead of fighting against the current, you learn to flow with it. This does not mean giving up on your goals or improving your life. It means accepting what you cannot change and focusing on what is within your control, your attitude, your reaction, and your inner peace. Step 2. Stop judging others. One of the most common causes of our irritation and anger is the constant judgment of others. We observe people's actions, and almost without realizing it, we label and criticize them. He's irresponsible. She has no idea what she's doing. That was disrespectful. But have you ever stopped to think how much emotional weight you are carrying because of these judgments? Every judgment you make is a burden that only affects you. The other person continues with their life, but you are trapped in negative thoughts that drain your energy and, worst of all, disturb your inner peace. Stoicism teaches us that letting go of judgments is an act of emotional liberation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always have the option of having no opinion." What does this mean? That you can choose not to form a negative judgment about people and situations. You don't have to approve of what others do, but you also don't have to carry that emotional weight. Letting go of judgment does not mean being indifferent. It means learning to see things as they are without adding layers of negativity that only harm you. Think about this. If you see someone arrive late to a meeting, you might automatically think they are lazy or irresponsible. But what if you later find out they're going through personal difficulties? Your perception would change instantly, wouldn't it? This proves that our judgments are often incomplete and based on limited information. That's why the Stoics invite us to be more understanding and not let ourselves be carried away by rushed judgments that only fuel our anger and frustration. The next time someone irritates you, pause and ask yourself, is it worth losing my peace over this judgment? When you stop judging others, you free your mind and heart. It does not mean justifying bad actions, but rather choosing not to carry unnecessary negative emotions. By doing so, you will not only be kinder to others, you will also be kinder to yourself. Judgment is a burden. Understanding is liberation. Step 3. Let go of control. A large part of our frustration comes from wanting to control the uncontrollable. We want others to act as we expect, for situations to unfold according to our plans, for life to follow a predictable path. But reality is very different. Life is uncertain and full of surprises. If you insist on trying to control everything around you, the only thing you will achieve is emotional exhaustion. Stoicism invites us to let go of that illusion of control and focus on what we can truly manage: our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. Think of a parent worried about their child's future. They can guide, advise, and support them, but they cannot control every decision the child makes. Similarly, an employee may feel frustrated by their boss's decisions, but they cannot change the way the company's leadership thinks. Is it worth exhausting yourself over situations that are beyond your control? The answer is no. True power lies in letting go of what is not in our hands and focusing our energy on what we can influence. Epictetus explained it clearly. Some things are within our control, others are not. This phrase summarizes one of the most important principles of Stoicism. What is within your control? Your attitude, your reaction, how you face challenges. What is not within your control? The actions of others, the weather, external circumstances. When you stop trying to control what you cannot, you experience a sense of freedom and lightness. You no longer carry the frustration of wanting to change the unchangeable. The next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, ask yourself, can I influence this? Will my reaction help improve the situation? If the answer is no, let go of that control, because insisting on controlling what does not depend on you only leads to frustration. But when you accept that some things are beyond your reach, you find peace. Letting go is not surrendering, it is freeing yourself. Step 4. Accept the imperfection of the world. One of the most common mistakes we make is expecting perfection from the world and the people around us. We get irritated when someone makes a mistake, when things do not go as expected, or when people do not meet our expectations. But is it realistic to expect everything to be perfect? The truth is that perfection is an illusion. And the sooner we accept this, the sooner we can free ourselves from the frustration that this unrealistic expectation creates. Stoicism reminds us that the world is not here to fulfill our desires. Marcus Aurelius expressed it clearly. Begin each day by telling yourself, "Today I will meet ungrateful, disloyal, and selfish people, but I will not let that affect me." This reflection is not pessimistic, it is realistic. Accepting the imperfection of the world prepares you to face it with more calm and less frustration. People will make mistakes. You will also make mistakes, and that is part of life. When someone disappoints you or fails to keep a promise, instead of getting irritated, ask yourself, should I expect everyone to be flawless all the time? The answer, obviously, is no. Even the kindest people can make mistakes. Under pressure, we can all show our worst sides. Accepting imperfection does not mean ignoring mistakes, but rather stopping taking others' failures as personal attacks. This acceptance is not an excuse for passivity, nor does it justify harmful behavior. On the contrary, it is an opportunity to develop patience and empathy. When you accept that the world is not perfect, you can focus on what truly matters, improving yourself and being a source of calm in an imperfect world. Do you want to be someone who gets irritated at every mistake, or someone who inspires peace and understanding? The choice is in your hands. Step 5. Take responsibility for your feelings. A fundamental truth that Stoicism teaches is that you are the only one responsible for your emotions. However many times we fall into the trap of blaming others or circumstances for what we feel. We say things like, "That person made me angry," or "This ruined my day." But does anyone or anything external really have the power to control your emotions? The answer is no. No one can force you to feel something you do not want to feel. Your emotions are yours, and only you have the power to manage them. Epictetus expressed it clearly. It is not events that disturb people, but their interpretation of them. And imagine you're in a traffic jam, and someone cuts you off abruptly. The natural reaction might be indignation or even anger. But if you stop to reflect, you will realize that this situation in itself does not have the capacity to affect you. It is your interpretation, thinking that they disrespected you or did something personal against you, that generates the negative emotion. Change the interpretation, and you will change the reaction. Stoicism invites us to take responsibility for our emotions. This does not mean suppressing what we feel, but rather consciously choosing how we want to react to each situation. When someone criticizes you or speaks to you rudely, you can choose to be offended and let it disturb your peace, or you can choose to remain calm. Always remember, what you think and feel is under your control. You cannot change other people's actions, but you can decide how to interpret them and how to respond. The next time something upsets you, ask yourself, why am I allowing this to affect me? Instead of reacting impulsively, take a pause, breathe, and consciously choose your response. That pause is an act of power. It is the difference between being a slave to your emotions or being the master of them. When you take responsibility for your feelings, you free yourself from emotional slavery and regain your inner peace. Step 6. The art of not reacting. One of the most powerful teachings of Stoicism is the art of not reacting impulsively. How many times have you responded in anger in a moment of frustration only to regret it later? Impulsive reactions often make situations worse and increase our emotional burden. True self-mastery lies in the ability to pause before reacting. It is not easy, but it is a skill that can be trained, and once achieved, it completely changes your life. Remember, External situations have no power over you unless you give it to them. For example, if someone unfairly criticizes you, your first reaction might be to defend yourself or return the insult. But what if instead of reacting immediately, you take a pause? That pause gives you space to reflect and respond with wisdom instead of letting yourself be carried away by emotional impulses. Seneca left us a valuable lesson. The best remedy for anger is delay. When something affects you, do not respond immediately. Give yourself a moment to cool down, take a deep breath, and think before acting. Even silence can be a powerful response. Many times, conflict is only fueled by impulsive reactions. If you choose not to respond instantly, you can avoid unnecessary confrontations and preserve your inner peace. Not reacting is not weakness. It is strength. Ask yourself, when was the last time I lost control over something trivial? Was it worth it? Most of the time, we will realize that our impulsive reactions only made things worse. Practice the art of the pause. The next time something provokes you, breathe, count to 10, and ask yourself if it is really worth losing your peace. When you master this art, you will discover that calmness and serenity become your greatest allies. Step 7. The joy of forgiveness and letting go. When you learn to remain calm and not react impulsively, you create space within yourself for something much deeper: compassion, forgiveness, and selfless giving. Stoicism invites us to free ourselves from resentment and see every situation as an opportunity to be better. Forgiving does not mean justifying bad actions, but refusing to allow those actions to control your emotions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." These words remind us that each day is an opportunity to live with an open heart and help others. Forgiveness is not an act of weakness, it is an act of strength. When you choose to forgive, you free yourself from the burden of resentment and anger. It is not just about freeing others, but about freeing yourself from emotions that only harm you. Stoicism teaches us that selfless kindness is also a form of freedom. When you do something good for others without expecting anything in return, you experience a deep sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. Do you remember a time when you helped someone without expecting a reward? That feeling of well-being is proof that love and selfless giving are the keys to a meaningful life. Compassion not only benefits others, but also strengthens your own spirit. Ask yourself, can I understand the reasons behind this person's behavior? Often others' actions are motivated by circumstances we do not know. Forgiving does not mean forgetting or justifying. It means freeing yourself from the weight of resentment and choosing to live with lightness and inner peace. When you choose forgiveness and compassion, you create a stronger, freer, and happier inner world. And remember, true freedom begins in your mind and heart. If you have made it this far, I want you to take a moment and reflect on everything we have discussed. 7 steps, 7 Stoic principles that can completely transform the way you experience your emotions. From accepting the flow of life, to learning, to forgive and letting go of control, each of these steps has the power to give you back something you may have lost: your inner peace. Remember this, you cannot control what happens around you, but you can always control how you choose to react. That is the key to true freedom. And when you learn to master your emotions, you are no longer a slave to circumstances or the actions of others. You are free. Stoicism is not just an ancient philosophy, it is a practical tool for modern life. No matter how many difficulties you face, what matters is how you choose to face them. And today, you have the opportunity to apply these principles to become a stronger, calmer, and more complete person. But now the question is, will you just keep this as theory, or will you put it into practice? True change happens when you decide to act. The next time something provokes you, stop. Take a pause. Ask yourself, is it worth losing my peace over this? If you can apply even one of these steps in your daily life, I guarantee you will start to see immediate changes. Peace is not something you find outside. Peace is within you. If this content helped you reflect, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. I want to hear from you. Leave me a comment. Which of these 7 steps will you apply in your life today? Because the most important thing is moving from theory to action. That is what truly changes lives. See you in the next video. Until then, live with calm, live with strength, and never forget, your peace is in your hands.